You know what nobody tells you about winning the lottery? That the real prize isn't the money, it's figuring out how to fill 16 waking hours every single day for the rest of your life. Congratulations, you're now unemployed forever, and the universe is waiting for you to do something interesting with all that freedom. Imagine you've just cashed in. The yacht is yours, the villa is yours, the sports car collection is yours. Now what? You wake up on a Tuesday morning with absolutely nothing you have to do, nowhere you need to be, and suddenly that sounds less like paradise and more like a psychological experiment you didn't sign up for. Here's the kicker. Humans are terrible at handling limitless free time. We're wired for struggle, for solving problems, for the dopamine hit of checking things off a list. Strip all that away and suddenly your brain starts eating itself out of sheer boredom. So what do the ultra-wealthy actually do all day? They invent problems. They take up hobbies that cost 6 figures and require expert instructors to teach them skills they'll abandon in 3 months. Golf, then polo, then competitive yacht racing, then collecting vintage cars they'll never drive. The routine becomes absurd pretty quickly. You've had breakfast on 3 continents in 1 week, and somehow they all tasted the same. You've been to every Michelin-starred restaurant within flying distance. The novelty of ordering the most expensive wine evaporates when you realize you can't actually tell the difference. Some try to fill the void with purpose, philanthropy, starting foundations, becoming patron saints of causes they just learned about last month. But even charity work becomes another scheduled event, another way to perform busyness without the actual pressure that makes busy feel real. It's theater, and you're both the actor and the only audience member who knows the script. Others go the self-improvement route. Personal trainers, life coaches, nutritionists, meditation gurus, an entire staff dedicated to optimizing a life that has nothing it needs to be optimized for. You're in the best shape of your life, but for what? To look good at parties you're too bored to attend? The irony is delicious. The thing everyone dreams about, never having to work again, turns into the very source of existential dread. Suddenly, those people grinding away at jobs they hate have something you don't. A reason to get out of bed that isn't manufactured. You start taking meetings just to feel busy. Lunch meetings, investment meetings, meetings about managing your wealth, meetings about meetings. You construct an entire architecture of obligation around yourself because humans need structure, like plants need sunlight. And you just fired yourself from the only structure you knew. Travel becomes a temporary fix. You hop from destination to destination, Instagramming sunsets and pretending each new beach is somehow different from the last 17 beaches. But eventually you realize you're not traveling, you're just changing the backdrop to the same internal monotony. Some of the wealthy develop truly bizarre hobbies just to feel something. Collecting taxidermied animals, building model cities in their basements, learning dead languages, financing expeditions to find cryptids. The stranger the pursuit, the more it proves you're still capable of wanting something. Then there's the dangerous territory. Thrill-seeking as a cure for numbness, extreme sports, risky investments, pushing boundaries just to remember what anxiety feels like. When consequence disappears from your life, you have to manually reintroduce it or risk floating away entirely. The social world becomes strange too. Are your friends actually your friends, or are they just people who enjoy your yacht? Every interaction carries a faint paranoia, a quiet wondering about motives. You can't tell anymore. And that uncertainty becomes its own form of isolation. Dating is its own nightmare. Do they love you or your net worth? The question poisons every romantic moment. You find yourself deliberately downplaying your wealth on first dates, then feeling ridiculous for pretending to be normal when your watch costs more than most people's cars. Eventually, some of the bored rich turn to philosophy. They read Stoic texts and Buddhist teachings, searching ancient wisdom for answers to their very modern problem. Marcus Aurelius didn't have this specific issue, but at least his meditations give you something to underline and feel thoughtful about. The ones who cope best often end up recreating the very conditions they escaped. They start businesses they don't need to start, create artificial deadlines, set arbitrary goals. They're essentially playing a video game on hard mode just to remember what challenge feels like. Here's where it gets darker. Some never figure it out. They cycle through therapists and antidepressants, treating symptoms of a problem that has no medical name. It's not depression exactly. It's more like the psychological version of being untethered in space, floating with nothing to push against. The absurdity peaks when you realize poor people fantasize about your problem. Millions dream of the day they'll have too much time and not enough to do, while you trade places with someone who has a genuine reason to set an alarm clock. The grass isn't just greener, it's a completely different species of vegetation. And here's the thing nobody wants to admit. Purpose can't be purchased. Meaning doesn't arrive via wire transfer. All the money in the world can't buy the feeling of being genuinely needed, of having something that depends on you showing up tomorrow. Some find salvation in ridiculous ways. They get obsessed with perfecting sourdough bread, or they spend years building a model railway that fills entire rooms. It doesn't matter what it is, it just needs to be something that demands their attention and gives nothing back except the satisfaction of doing it. The ultra-wealthy social circuit develops its own bizarre customs. Charity galas become competitive displays of who can look most philanthropic while being most bored. Everyone's performing concern about causes while internally wondering if this event will be different from the last 12 identical events. Technology makes it worse. You can't even get lost in mindless scrolling anymore because you've literally seen everything the internet has to offer. You've binged every show, played every game, read every trending article. Digital distraction fails when you have unlimited time to exhaust every platform. Eventually, some embrace the absurdity. They lean into the meaninglessness, treating their lives like an extended art project or an experiment in radical freedom. If nothing matters and you can do anything, why not make that the point? It's nihilism with a platinum credit card. The ones who seem happiest are those who never fully retire psychologically. They keep the mindset of having something to prove, some goal to chase, even if the goal is entirely self-imposed and the stakes are imaginary. They're method actors in the play of their own productive lives. But here's the quiet truth most won't say out loud. Some days, they'd give almost anything to have a boss again, a deadline that matters, a project that could actually fail. The fantasy of freedom crashes hard against the reality that humans need friction to feel real. And yet, the cycle continues. People buy lottery tickets, dream of early retirement, fantasize about the day they'll never have to work again. They have no idea they're wishing for a very expensive, very comfortable form of psychological purgatory. The joke is eternal, and the punchline is that everyone still wants to be the one telling it. That's the secret nobody mentions in the wealth management seminars. The hardest thing about having everything isn't maintaining it. It's finding a reason to care that you did. But don't worry. Tomorrow there will be another charity auction, another exotic destination, another hobby to pretend fills the void. The calendar stays full even when nothing on it actually matters.